Hey, this is Brimstone. You're watching AFK away from the keyboard. Ain't no better place to be than right here watching now.
I'm also going to start things off here. About 21 years ago, in a small warehouse or a small studio in California, they shot the pilot of Babylon 5. This is the slate from that pilot. So I'm going to start this reunion with this right now. So we're going to bring out everybody in the cast here. I'd like to start off with the captain of a certain station, Mr. Bruce Boxleitner. Welcome. And next, Julie Caitlin Brown. Pick where you want to sit. Ranger Marcus Cole. Jason Carter, would you get up here, please? Susan Ivanova, Miss Claudia Christian, please come on stage. Is she not here? We'll get. we'll come back. She is here. Joshua Cox. Corwin, please come on stage and join us. I think we have another telepath coming up next. Byron, Mr. Robin Eckendowns. We need some television coverage from this. Let's get a news reporter out here. Maggie Egan, please. As far as I'm concerned, the most beautiful ambassador in the universe, Miss Mira Furlan. Veer Koto, Stephen First. Londo, come yell at Veer. Peter Jurasik. And we need more chairs. Either that or we're all going to be real good friends by the time this is over. Londo, I think you need somebody to play cards with. Billy Mooney, please get up here as Lanier. Claudia's here. Come on. Y'all can sit wherever you want. From Legend of the Rangers, Dylan Neal. Works for me. I'm in the same boat. our other station commander, Miss Tracy Scoggins, Miss Elizabeth Lockley. Please come report for duty. We need another telepath, Miss Patricia Tallman. We're all going to be real friendly up here today. Talon, please keep this organization in order. Marshall Teague. And last but certainly not least, only because her last name begins with a T, Miss Andrea Thompson. Please, a big round for everybody. Again. We may need to steal some seats from the audience. Have we got a room up here for everybody?
Everybody got a seat? Yes. I'll park a cheek right here.
Well, I'll steal one. I'll take one.
Everybody good? We made it.
It's a good thing we're all friends.
Wow.
Thank you. Hello. All right. We've got mics up on the counters there. You guys can just reach up and pass them around whenever you need them. But that one's for me. I'll give you this one. But to start it off, because basically I just have to wind these guys up and let them go. Mm-hmm. So guys, like I said, I'm just going to wind you guys up and let you go. Occasionally jump in with a couple of... Yes? You can't... Oh, God, y'all... There's no floor monitors? Oh, good. I don't think they're on. I don't think so.
If you turn around one of those a little bit towards us, then we'll be able to.
See what I can do.
Okay. Do we have floor monitors, guys?
Sorry, Captain.
I tried. It's freaking heavy. Hold a moment.
Wave, everybody. Not you.
I think I just knocked somebody's power cable out on the camera here, whoever this was. Does that work? Can y'all hear? Okay. Peter, that was him. He called you a name, not me. Okay. We'll make do. So. All right, guys, there's mics in front of you. I'm going to hand this one off to...
Testing.
All right. So, Bruce, what is your any of you, what is your one defining memory of the show? And that will kick us going, and you guys have fun. The defining memory, the defining moment of the entire show.
Why do I have to be the first?
Because you're right next to me.
No. Defining moment. Help me out, kids. What? Yes, that's a good one. Next question. You guys know it better than we do, I guarantee you. That was probably it, a defining moment for me, leaping off a ledge into a pile of boxes, cardboard boxes, and then later seeing the show, and I'm leaping into some hole. I'm going down and down and down forever, and I thought I was probably fired and never coming back. So, but story-wise, yes. Thank you very much for that help. Probably my leap to death in Zahadum, and the culmination of all of that was a very defining moment for me.
Let's see. The latex, the glue, Meeting Bill Mumy my very first day, and he's looking at me and I'm looking at him going, what have we done? We have agreed to be glued for the next however many days. Now, meeting Andreas and realizing that my very first scene was to try and kick the crap out of him. So I would say that set the tone for my time on Babylon 5. Irreverent, fun, great writing, and getting to do things that most women don't get to do in Hollywood. So it was really good. Joe wrote really great, strong, crazy women. Look at all of us. Okay.
Defining moment. Well, one of them's not here.
Way to go.
Go on.
It was only one moment.
Yes, and that's why they're divorced. Okay.
See, I didn't have to say anything. Everybody knows. It was a defining moment in life to meet all these people because look how many of us still know each other. I mean, holidays, times we've spent together. Yeah, conventions. And to get to come in and see all of you over and over and over again in many cases. You know, and I can't tell you how grateful I am for that because I don't even see family members that often. So, you know. There you go, Jason.
Oh, goodness. Defining moment. I don't know. I suppose it was going for the wardrobe fitting, having just been cast in a science fiction show, and thinking, oh, God, I'm going to look terrible in Lycra. And luckily, they dressed me as if I was going to play Hamlet. Because it was later revealed that I was Hamlet the Virgin, which was probably true, but that was about, I think it was the defining moment, was when I was declared a virgin. Okay.
I thought you were going to say when you died.
I was going to say, but that's such a downer.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. The defining moment for me was our very first convention in England, and that's when I realized that the show really was making an impact on some people somewhere in the world, because in America, we were never on at the same time. We were always interrupted by the Lakers games in Los Angeles. So my friends thought I was lying when I said I was on a TV show. I said, well, when's it on? I said, Wednesday at 7:30. They said, that's BS. There was a basketball game on all night long. So it was very impressive being in England and having thousands of people lined up for us. Peter and I looked at each other and went, are they really here for us? So I think that was a defining moment for me.
Blackpool was definitely a mind blower, but I might not have made it to Blackpool if Claudia hadn't shouted very loudly. I've said it before and told it before. Probably half of you heard this yesterday. When are we going to give Josh a name? I'd say that was a pretty defining moment for me and Lieutenant Corwin. Because before then, or that shout was taken up, he was just Tech 1 or Tech 2, depending upon where you started in on the series. So I would say therein lies the beginning of all the good thereafter, and all this good fun as well, and getting to work with all these people. So that's a good moment.
Awesome. I'd probably say the first defining moment was realizing that I just made love to 150 telepaths. But actually, the defining moment for me on the show was after playing the Minbari and auditioning. It was the audition for Byron, and I was very nervous. It was my first television series, and I stayed up all night working on the lines and going in for the audition. And when I got the call that I'd received the role, it was an amazing moment, and I had no idea what a great experience was in for me.
And how was it meeting me? I remember Fern Champion running down the hall. She's our casting director, and she said, "You're going to love me forever for this." It's pretty much true. Yeah, I think a defining moment for me was walking on the pilot set for Babylon 5 in Santa Clarita and seeing all of the concept art and reading Joe's script for the audition, just going, wow, this is way too good. They will never cast me. A star will get this. This is the best script I've ever read. Yeah. Oh. 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 Who said that?
Well done, guys.
Before we go any further, I want to stop for a second because I made a colossal mistake just now. I was looking at my iPhone and I skipped a line, and I apologize profusely. We have one more guest here who I accidentally skipped, and I did not intend to do that. Please come out on stage. Miss Bridget Flannery, I'm so sorry. This one is completely my fault. You may kill me later. Thank you.
Not okay. It's not
Are
okay.
you telling me now I got to pick this ball back up and run with it?
Yes, ma'am.
I got to follow Bridget, who we all are breaking our hearts over. And now what do I have to go? French kiss somebody? I mean, what? Look, another volunteer. It's the same one. Well, come on down. Oh my God, my defining moment, I think, it's come a bit late, but I believe this is my defining moment. Thank you. You know, because I was usually on the set before any of the major stars because they're like, get that news thing out of the way, let the other people sleep in. So I didn't see much of you guys. So for me to be here, honestly, I'm feeling the love. I'm feeling the love. It's really nice. I guess the other defining moment would be you got the job. I was thrilled. And I thought it was a one-time thing. So imagine my amazement that I was on every season and Crusade. I mean, I honestly didn't. For me, this is a big deal. I'm very grateful to be here, and thank you all.
The defining moment is Andreas in his G-car makeup and costume, smoking one of 100 cigarettes that he smoked a day, leaned on the wall of the bathtub jacuzzi facility, factory that we worked in. Just seeing him there with such dignity, a great, incredible actor, fully covered with latex, smoking. That's the defining moment.
What was the question again? No, my defining moment was when I got the part, which was very strange. I'm going to try to make it fast because there's so many of us. But I had this audition for something called Babylon 5. I had no idea what it was. And I go into the audition room, and there's these 25 other actors with their hair pointed straight up like Patti LaBelle. And I have my hair normal, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm missing something. So I run to the restroom, and I go to the restroom, and I use this soap dispenser, right? And I'm spiking my hair with the soap, and my hand touched my eye, and the water's coming out of my eye. It's red, and they call my name, and I run in there, and I felt that I owed them an explanation. And I said, oh, I am so sorry. I knew nothing about the hair. And I went into the bathroom with the soap dispenser, and it got in my eye. And they stopped, and they said, oh, my God, it's Veer.
If I told that same story, would you laugh and applaud? For me, please, because I can't come up. I can't follow him. I can't do defining moments in the show, but the defining moment of that time for me was when my son was born in '96. So that was the defining moment for me.
There goes my story. Defining moment. Whatever Mira said is correct.
You're going to leave me with that? All right. First, best defining moment. You're looking at him. This is it, the defining moment. It really is. Being involved with this group from the first frame of the first show of Babylon 5 that was ever shot to the very last. That's an honor, especially with this group. That's my defining moment.
My defining moment was much like Stephen's, only without the soap. It was my audition, getting the job, because Joe had told Jerry, thanks a lot for coming, Jerry. No, he told Jerry, he said, you know what, she's been too cool and too collected. This is the 4th audition. Get her as bad as you can. All the TNT suits, the Warner Brothers suits, everyone's in the room, and Jerry gets in my face and changes the lines and pushes me and steps on my feet. And I say, Mr. Garibaldi, I'm gonna have to ask you to kiss my Texas ass. And Jerry said, I walked out of the room and turned out the lights and left them all in the dark. Okay? And after someone had stumbled back and turned the lights on, Jerry turned to everyone and said, I vote her the least likely to sleep with me, but the best captain.
Well, I only did 1 episode, so my defining moments are limited comparatively, but I would say that I will never forget that after I was cast, they told me that Tracy wanted to meet me prior to us shooting together, and I was really scared. And so they took me backstage to meet her, and I remember her coming through a door and with her big, beautiful green eyes just looking at me and saying, oh my God, I'm so glad they cast you, and coming over and throwing her arms around me and welcoming me. And I knew then that we were going to have a really lovely shoot together because she was so kind and so lovely.
That would be not getting picked up to series. That would be our defining moment. I feel like I'm like the ugly second cousin twice removed over here. I'm sorry, we let the team down. Okay, so if that's not it, it would have to be at some point early on having great sympathy with William Shatner and realizing how tough it is to be a captain when you're stuck in a chair the entire episode. You know how hard it is to act and be kind of, commanding and dramatic and maybe fearful, and you've got like basically nothing to do, right? Method hemorrhoid. You get really good at the lean, right? The one-handed lean in. Yeah, it's Shatner led the way. I copied just Bill the whole time. That's all I could do.
Let's have a second and remember our good friends Michael O'Hare, Rick Biggs, Andreas Katsoulis, Jeff Conaway, Tim Choate.
Dylan, you were one of the last to actually work with Andreas on air. What was he like, even in the days of the Rangers show?
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows what a great actor Andreas was, right? I mean, we've been hearing about it all weekend. It was obviously a great privilege for me. Honestly, I was a little nervous. I knew who he was. Obviously as an actor, he had a great body of work behind him outside of Babylon, obviously. And he was just so gracious, completely humble. I mean, here's like a really, really talented actor, right? Playing quite an iconic character. I'm the new kid on the block. I didn't know that much about Babylon, and he was just so welcoming, and he made the job really easy, and I was really appreciative of it. But I was very cognizant that whenever I wasn't on camera, I was just kind of just watching him at work like a student, you know? I think that's what all actors do when you get to work opposite someone that's just really special. And he was amazing. So I feel really privileged for the experience. And yeah, I know everyone misses him. And so I just feel privileged to have been there.
I'd like to say that my first day with Andreas, as nice as everybody was, I mean, they couldn't have been any nicer. But Andreas was the one that made me feel at home, and I'll tell you why. Peter, being the Southern gentleman or whatever, wherever he's from, New York. Okay, well, we were doing a big scene in Sheridan's office, and there weren't enough chairs for everyone to sit, and it was my first day of working. So Peter gets up and says, "Here, Tracy, please take my chair." And before I could get to it, Andreas rushes in and sits down. And Peter goes, "Andreas, dude, what the hell are you doing?" And she goes, "She's family. I wouldn't get up for anybody else."
Since we can tell these Andreas anecdotes or pieces, first day, you know, and I mean, I became Talon after Bruce beat the crap out of me with a piece of pipe. And Talon, and I walked on the set the first day, and he looked at me, and we had the sword on, and we put our eyes in, and I addressed him as Jakar. And he says, "I understand you're here to watch my back." And I said, "Just make sure you don't run into my back with that blade." I said, "You're covered." He said, "Not too much, though." A gentleman, though, a true gentleman.
Well, actually, Marshall, as long as we got you on real quick, something Josh said just a moment ago tied in with that. You know, one of the things that was real important with Joe was names. You know, he seemed to place an emphasis on names, and you told me a story earlier that the naming of Talon had a special about the sword.
Well, if you think Talon. When we created the character, Bruce was very instrumental, and when we fought, we went to Joe, talked to him about it, and he said, create his persona, thus the blade, thus the name, Talon, the Talon. So this was something Joe just had the ability to create in his mind, and I thank Bruce for that, and being brought with this group, and it's just been an honor. I got to tell you, working with everybody, there's not a story about a day that we shot that somebody can't share some part of that. So share one, Billy.
No, I'm sure we got some questions or something coming, right, John? Yeah?
Beg your pardon?
I'm just waiting for a question.
You have, okay.
Let the audience ask.
Yes, I mean, do we have any questions from the audience? We've got this one we're going to bring right over to the mic. If anybody
Can I
wants
tell
to
a
ask
story,
questions.
one quick story, though, about names?
Yeah, I was going
I
to go
think
to
your
you
question,
next because
we can't hear very well,
I'm sorry.
is about names that Joe came up with.
Right, and you told me a
Hello?
story earlier about your name in the show.
I didn't even know I had a name until years later, and I went to a convention, and an actor said, someone at the convention said to me, "Well, yeah, you had a name." I said, "No, I don't think I did. I was just the ISN news anchor." And she went, No. Remember when everything was falling down, and he said, "Jane, you know, it's the only time I knew I had a name. And I have no last name, so I've decided it's Italian, no last name." That's it.
Well, this next thing is not really a question, but we, as several people have mentioned, we have several people that are not here. Jerry did not make it. Joe did not make it. But Joe is somewhat here. I believe he has something for you, Mr. Boxleitner.
Joe emailed me. Oh, I think they can hear me. Joe emailed me and he asked me to read this. So don't boo me, okay, or anything like that. If you don't like it, whatever. I read through it once. This is going to be a fairly cold reading. All right. Now, Joe has a very interesting sense of humor, right? All right, everyone. Please, if you can, stand up. Nope. Are we all standing? Now sit down. According to him, you people take orders easily, and this is how fascism starts. Babylon 5 was about resisting authority figures. Clearly, you haven't been paying attention. Now, I would just like to say the following. Wibble, wibble, wobble, piff, piff, whoopee, piff. Buddy, I'm just reading it. That doesn't mean anything. I just want to be able to watch Bruce saying this on YouTube for the next 10 years. Oh. Thank you, Joe. Yes, I did. Yes. I've been saying mea culpa ever since. I say for the next 10 years because once our transmissions and internet reach surpass the limits of the solar system, those words will trigger an interstellar war with another species. And that's pretty much it for the human race. So for those of you with 401ks that will mature after 2024, you're SOL. I cleaned that up. Anyway, now here's an exercise. Everyone raise your right hand. Seriously. This is important. Come on. Raise your right hands. Put your hands down again. Have you learned nothing? Authority figure. Pointless orders. Next thing you know, there's flags and banners and someone's invading Poland, and sooner or later somebody's going to lose an eye. Never do something just because someone in authority tells you to do it. Resistance is the highest form of patriotism. Now he gets serious, okay? I wish I could be there with you. Well, up here on the stage looking out at you from a distance, somehow that seems safer for all of us. But alas, as Bruce reads these words, piff, wobble, wibble, I am in London for production meetings for Sense8, a new TV series I'm writing and producing for Netflix with Lana and Andy Wachowski, creators of the Matrix trilogy and all-around swell people. So all I can do is convey by proxy my best wishes to the Space City Con organizers and to you in the audience who have stepped away from the safety and sanity of your lives to associate with actors. It's okay, we've all sinned. Actually, yes, I do go on forever, right? Peter, try to stay awake. Anyway, actually, I do have one other thought, and it goes on for a page, okay? Consider the people arranged here on the stage before you, including me. Well, not me, Bruce me, that's reading this. Not that he's me, but I'm him for the purposes of this. Fine, just look up here, okay? Writers make black marks on pieces of paper. Actors breathe life into those words, transmuting those marks into something resembling art. A scriptwriter without actors is like a bicycle without wheels, birds without wings, Congress without stupidity. The greatest gift I have ever received in 30 plus years of writing has been the opportunity to work with the people on this stage. An amazing collection of talented actors and actresses. Yes, well, and Jerry. Is he here? Okay then. What they will not tell you, but which I will force Bruce to tell you, is that all reports to the contrary notwithstanding, actors are human. They catalog and contain the same nobilities, fears, foibles, and magnificent fractures as the rest of the human race. They are fragile as flesh is fragile. They are loving as their hearts may chance to love, and they strive ever upward toward perfection as their spirits demand. Oh my God, don't please. Really? They are here today to celebrate with you the work, the spirit of that work, and the space between the work and the audience where something wonderfully close to magic happens. Between handshakes and autographs, the flash of cameras and the beat of the heart, step back and freeze the moment so you can consider it in the future, turning it this way and that like a gemstone. Remember their faces, their spirits, their hearts, because whether you realize it or not, they will remember yours. Because whether you realize it or not, they love you. Whether they admit it or not, they love you. We all do. Hold that miracle close to your heart, for love is rare and wonderful and ridiculously hard to find with just one other person. Yet here it is, with everyone in this room. It binds us and heals us and makes us one.
It was mirroring what you were going through, had been going through back home?
Well, I mean, but it was not particularly about me. It was, he's a writer who observes all the time, and what he observes, he puts in his writing. And so I think each of our characters was somehow informed and inspired by our, I don't know, real selves, although, I mean, all these separations are, in my opinion, unimportant because we are what we are, and somehow it all melts into one thing, which is the character you play. Something like that.
For any of you, is there anything he ever wrote that any of y'all balked at? I mean, was there something that you ever fought with him on, or anybody?
We can't hear you. Okay, this is. Can I just report from the trenches of? We can't hear anything. We can barely hear, but not. I mean, I can't understand what anybody is saying. So there is a problem with the sound. I'm so sorry.
Actually, I can understand people out there. It's only up here that I can't hear. I can understand the things that were said out there.
We just need to turn around one of those speakers so we can hear ourselves.
Oh, that's what we also could be actors and just talk. Can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear us without the microphones?
Does anybody have any question from the audience? Anybody raise your hand? Okay, good. You over there. In the middle, right there in the middle. You just right, yeah.
Come on up here. We've got a mic up here. Do we have any good Richard Biggs stories from the audience? Jason, tell us a Richard Biggs story. Somebody pass him a microphone, please.
Okay. Rick Biggs persuaded me to his convention circuits, really. While we were on the convention, I didn't know about doing conventions, and I'd always done theatre and stuff like that, so I could walk out onto a stage and play a part. But this was going to conventions, and you walk out and you got to be yourself with no lines. Who the hell am I? And so it was early on in the convention game, and there was that big one that we did. For me, it was the first one I did, which was in London. And unfortunately, we had an hour on the stage speaking. Oh, this is really a Richard Biggs story, but it kind of, it's Peter Jurassic. I followed Peter Jurassic, who did 40 minutes without fielding a question. And I'm following him, so that was absolutely terrifying. And I can't do well that. Anyone got any questions? That's the first thing I said. But no, I was in a situation at a convention, and it was early on in the show, so we were in a darkened theatre. The lights were on, and and there was a microphone at the back of the auditorium where people were asking questions from, and I got this question: who do you least like out of the cast of Babylon 5? I'm kind of fairly green to the game, so I'm completely on my back foot. Well, I can't really answer that question. It's just like, and it was difficult because I didn't know what to say, and I saw it was him. So I said, I hate Rick Biggs. I loathe and detest Rick Biggs, and then a chase ensued, and which apparently everybody liked, and then we kind of did a double act for the rest of our convention appearances together. So I had a great time with Rick, and of course, if I've got any stories about them, they're between me and him. We partied hard. So. And I'm sure everybody else did, but I greatly loved the man. He was a great, dear friend. So, yeah, I celebrate his life.
You're next over here. Shout it out. Speak up.
Come over here to the microphone. He's asking you about Michael O'Hare.
Yeah, we know.
Okay.
Anybody have anything to say?
You just asked about Michael.
Michael O'Hare, what it was like to work with Michael O'Hare.
Yes.
I think it's pretty well known. Can you hear me? Or should I just stand up? You know, Michael wasn't, he really wasn't well, so, and not everybody knew it, so it was a little difficult at times to figure out what was going on, and that's my experience. I think it's true with a lot of people, and we didn't know that he really wasn't, or not everybody did, and so it was difficult. I think that they, you know, they probably held Michael longer than he should have been, than he was held, to, you know, be the captain and all that, but you know, that was the experience. I think people had troubled experiences and good and bad, but we didn't know, or most of us didn't know, that he was struggling as much as he was, you know, like anybody with a mental problem. He was not well.
Peter, as soon as Joe found out, he began to help him.
Yeah, Joe definitely.
Joe helped him a lot. From what don't quote me. I'm talking to a film. Joe helped him try to get some help, and
I'd like to say something really nice about O'Hare, and that is he had one of the best voices I've ever heard in my entire life.
He did. I want to say, obviously, I was in a kind of an awkward position. I had replaced him. It's never fun. He came back to do a two-parter. And I think there were some people wondering, oh my gosh, what are they going to be like together and things like that. I felt, I didn't work with the man for a full year like you all did, but I felt he came back with a sense of dignity and professionalism. I found him very charming. He kept very much to himself. And I thought to myself, my God, how hard this must be in a way to come back. I asked myself, okay, Box, could you do it? Could you come back after you've been let go? And I didn't know if I could, to tell you the truth. But I have to give that to him. I thought this was a very brave man for doing this. He believed in the story and wanted to complete that character. And I have nothing but admiration for him for that. But I found him very charming.
Bruce, I would just like to say one thing that was beautiful. You have no idea what an awkward situation is.
How about the lady right in the front row?
Yes.
I'm asking.
Next
My
question.
response to that is that I played the show one episode at a time, just like you guys saw it. I got it, and I would play it, and then I would hope that there would be another episode down the line. So I was never looking ahead or playing ahead. I was always right there. I mean, that's how I played it. So.
You know what I wanted?
No, what, Bruce?
I wanted to kick the living hell out of those shadows, is what I wanted. And that's the way I played it for that entire season. I just wanted to kill them all. There you go. Let Valen sort them out.
Joe said something. Oh, please. Joe said something very interesting to me. I was trying to learn to write. I was trying to transition. I was working on scripts. And I went into his office and I said, will you mentor me a little bit? And he said, sure. And he goes, remember one thing. There's the story you write. There's the story you shoot. And then there's the story you edit. Because there are so many cooks in the kitchen when you're trying to make a series that you don't always get everything you want. He was very powerful. He's a very powerful man and a very powerful writer. But you had to answer to certain budgetary constraints and other things. So what you end up seeing may be not what he saw in the bathroom when he had his epiphany in the shower.
Yeah.
And saw Babylon 5 en masse in his mind. But he did the very best he could to bring his story to life. And remember, they kept trying to cut him out and say, you're done, you're done, you're done.
Yeah.
So he had to keep changing that 5-year arc, which is extremely hard. So there is no way to play it except every time you get a script, you go, okay, now, really?
Yep.
All right then. Which is why they, and cast members leaving, and you don't always get.
That's
what you
why I
think.
I played it full speed ahead. I mean, whatever was coming at me, I was going to do it. Simple as that,
Yep.
I never looked ahead. Like Peter said, we never looked ahead each script. I didn't want to know that. Sheridan didn't know what was coming. Bruce Boxleitner didn't know what was coming. I treated it the same way. I was surprised every week. Wonderfully surprised, by the way, for the most part. And played it as it came at us, Boy, he was brilliant. Yes. Sir with the hat?
Yes.
Oh. You're next.
I'll let you know when that happens.
Come on now. Come on now.
No, I said it the other day. I felt that Day of the Dead, the Neil Gaiman episode, was kind of a turning point for Lockley and for Tracy, and because it humanized her. And I think I've said this before, but indulge me, please. My father had a saying, show people your strength and they'll take notice, show them your weakness and they'll take heart. And I think that's what happened. And thank you for that. And I felt that it was a sea change on the show and in fandom, because I would read the posts and go to sleep crying every night.
Oh my God, I'm tired.
Because I was a fan before I was a 4-year fan.
Sir? Yeah.
How dare you?
He's kidding.
About their weight problem?
I'll leave it to him.
I think Joe, in my opinion, made it one of the most beautiful, subtle relationships. And what was great was that it was never noted as a gay relationship. It was simply accepted that it was omnisexual. That's
It was two people in love.
yeah, it was two people in love, and there was no, they had the big kiss on Deep Space Nine, and he deliberately made it that she woke up in my bed, so it was implied, and that wasn't just because kids were watching the show, because he felt that it was deeper that way, and also that it shouldn't be something that people note. Sexuality shouldn't be of note in the future, that it wasn't a big deal that Ivanova was bisexual. So I thought that was really classy of him.
And I yeah, right. And I do think that things have come around, that we do see a lot more of that now, where we're seeing, these relationships are being honored for what they are. But it's really easy to forget that it wasn't that long ago when you couldn't see a loving relationship between two men, or a loving relationship between two women, or an interracial couple. But he did go about it with a delicacy that was not about exploiting it, and it wasn't about getting ratings. It was about doing it justice and doing it honorably. What did I miss? And then Joe always said it was about his inner teenager as well. So there's always that.
Well, we did fake make out on stage once, so yeah.
Yeah, I think it ended up in a book somewhere, didn't it?
Yeah, the whole comment about Joe observing people and putting things into the scripts based on our personalities. What?
It's Pat's camera.
Everybody's videoing this. We're videoing our own
Oh,
show.
anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, so we were making out on set one day, just as a joke, and I think Joe saw that and he got really excited, and that's why he wrote that. So that's it. So all of that politically correct, diplomatic shit I was talking about before, you can just forget about that. It was all about a horny middle-aged man wrote that scene. Just kidding. And the fellow who kissed Pat is now, look at him. Somebody get this man a date.
Next question. Let's go.
It's over here. Me again? Oh, goodness. I can't think.
Coming up or going around?
Oh, no. No, I'm not doing it. Not doing it. Oh, well, thank you very much. Well, it was ridiculous because, of course, as everyone's pointed out, as much as you didn't look ahead, you couldn't look ahead because, as far as I was concerned, at my level in the cast, a script would arrive at the door from a motorcycle dispatch rider. It sounds exotic, but intellectual property you don't put in the mail. So the script arrives, this is something that hasn't been made, so ding dong, and knock on the door sounds more dramatic, doesn't it? But ding dong, open the door, guy in leather hands you this package. Oh, great, I wonder whether I'm in this one. And you open it up, and oh, I am. What the hell is this, sheet music? A CD of Pirates and Penzance? What the hell is this? So I read the script and no way! And I got to learn Modern Major General, apparently. And everybody thinks, for some reason, because the way it was aired over the credits, that it was somehow a blooper reel. I made it up, yeah. No, I did that. And I learned all the... So I was actually very annoyed when they cut before I got to the end, because I learned every bloody word. Which is pretty hard. Oh, well. No, I did it at my panel. I'm not going to do it at theirs. It's really not fair. In memory of Rick Biggs telling me to shut up, I'll shut up.
Wait, I want to recognize people right there with the spikes. I love them.
Visigoths.
That's Castle Khazar. Yes, it is.
Horny people.
Speak up.
My question is, for as many of you as have an answer, what was your most hilarious moment on set, like blooper-wise?
Oh, God.
Besides breaking your head in the middle of a rubber suit?
Well, I had a doozy. We wore links on our wrists, right? Our communication links, and we had a big scene. All of us were in there. Claudia, do you remember this? And my link, supposedly I'm being contacted from CNC, and I said, Sinclair. Everybody looked at me on stage like, what? I said Sinclair. I did?
So we're working on the White Star, and it was oppressively hot in the summers out where we were working, and we were in a little hot tub factory. It wasn't a real studio, so it got really toasty in there. And one day there's this scene, and I'm piloting the White Star, and Claudia we're in a tight two-shot, and it's like, okay, action, and we're a second into the shot, and Claudia's like, God, your bone stinks. So yes, Lanier had a stinky bone on the White Star. You kind of had to be there, but...
So I did one. You remember Peter O'Toole in My Favorite Year? I love that movie. God rest his soul. Okay, so I'm doing the news anchor thing, and there's a word that comes up, and I must have stumbled on it because it was something about the planet Octor, and I just looked up and I went into the camera, Octor? Octor? I'm not an Octor. I'm a star. I guess it made the blooper reel. So that's mine.
One of the most beautiful things about Babylon 5, I think it's the relationships and the love stories. The epic love story between Dylan and Sheridan, I think all touched us so much. Easy. Epic love story. This is somewhat of a request as well as a submission. Could Mira sit beside Bruce?
Mira. And what would you have us do?
Just maybe reminisce on maybe the time you worked together, maybe your favorite scene or your most touching.
I'll come to you, Mira. If you want. You want?
Maddie's swapping. You were swapping. I leave you.
Is this white swap? No. Mira, what do you want to say?
I remember the day
True romance.
that Bruce came to the set, the first day, Bruce's first day on the set. I was in the makeup trailer, and Billy Mooney comes into the trailer, and I say, "How is he?" And Billy says, "He looks like a god." No, it's true. It's
And that was a different love story with Lanier.
Woohoo.
There were many you didn't see. Do you know what? For me, of all of the scenes that we did, and we had some marvelous scenes in bed. That's so true. Oh, God, I'm laughing. We had some marvelous scenes in. Do you remember the bed, the Mimbari bed, that was on a
Which you had
slant?
to- which you
Do you know how
had to-
agonizing that was for my long legs? To keep her head and my head on an equal thing.
That's
Look
right.
at the difference here I've got.
That's right.
Huh? Easy. I would keep sliding down the bed. I couldn't stay. Well, I don't sleep in a Mimbari bed, but I think my favorite part was sleeping in light.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
final scenes with Sheridan and Dylan And my favorite shot, her sitting there, profile, and then I sort of leaned forward. Sheridan's already gone. That's sort of his spirit there. I think it's one of the best shots that ever happened. I still get a chill. And we're watching the sunrise, and you know that she's sitting there alone. The last scene when we said goodbye, all of those scenes were really, I think, some of the best stuff we ever got to play.
It was incredibly touching and moving, and we were all in tears. And it somehow, it was the end of the show also.
Yes.
So there was this method moment, that it was really the end.
Yeah, it wasn't hard to come by. I know he didn't want us to cry, and it was
almost
we were
impossible.
trying not to, and that's always the most dramatic when everything you do to try to stop from crying and still those tears you start to see the eyes tear up. But it was because we had the entire, like the crew, the wardrobe girls, people who wouldn't normally be on set or necessarily right there. They were under the cameras. They were wherever they could watch, because we all thought this was the end. And we got to play those wonderful scenes together, so.
I mean, Bruce
It wasn't difficult with this lady, by the way. There was never a time. No, you always hear these stories, Hollywood stories about people who play romantic couples, how they don't get along, they bicker and fight. We never had any of those kind of problems.
Never.
And there was never an awkward moment. We just played these people and aliens. People aliens. I had huh?
I said, tell us the juicy stuff about how was the kiss.
Oh,
God.
the tongues. Oh, my God. Yes. And she had several of them. You didn't know that, did you, about Mimbari? Tell us about Centauri private parts. Thank you. Was it like between the two of you, there were like 12, right? Or something like that?
We got a dozen here.
A baker's dozen, yes. And I've gotten way off the mark. Anyway, thank you.
I believe the woman in white here had a question. White hat right here.
She's the best audience. On what, sir?
It felt taller. It's all been good, it's a great group of people here, and we all got along pretty darn well, mostly. Ooh.
Anybody else? Oh, sir?
Let's.
Our sets were pretty good, and
pretty practical.
green screen's kind of been around for quite a long time.
I think they were pretty practical sets.
They were
like you
pretty
normally
practical
would have.
sets.
I mean,
In today's sci-fi, there's a lot of literal virtual sets, but we had pretty darn good sets. We had this whole hot tub factory that was converted into the station, and we very rarely ever left the station. And it wasn't that hard to do. Even on Lost in Space in the '60s, there was some guy in a bad rubber suit, but there was always kind of something to look at. It was all good. It wasn't that hard.
I think Peter did the only location shoot. It was out in the parking lot.
Right. That's true.
They
That's
threw
true.
down some sand on the ground. The camera was on high, looking down at Peter, watching the shadow fleet coming over, and it was that was the big location. They brought in sand and dropped it down there and looked down on him, and it could have been in the middle of the Gobi Desert, for all we knew.
We never really left. I'll
He
tell
never
you,
left the stage.
One of the interesting things was there was an earthquake in the second season of Babylon 5, and you have to remember There wa- Yeah, how about that? There was this earthquake, and because we weren't at a studio, where the stages are like airplane hangars and really solid, we were in this little place, so the aftershocks of this earthquake would really shake the entire building. You'd think all the lights were going to fall down, and we were pretty much isolated out in this little small industrial community, and we'd all leave the stage during these aftershocks, and there'd be all these business people from the other companies out there seeing Narns and Minbari, and all these people come fleeing out of this building, and it was pretty funny.
Yeah, they had no idea what was going on in there. It still had Aquatech on the front of the building. An Orange Bang was next door, yes. I think there was one little sign, though, where the extras parked, and it had a little sign and these little figures going across, and it said, Sentient Crossing. These little alien figures crossing, and that was the only thing.
I just wanted to mention the people who designed the costumes were great, too, because that informed, it's certainly the Centauri, it did. They gave us those boots, and I had a cape at first and stuff like that. So, they were great
Ann
costumes,
Bruce,
too.
wasn't it?
Ann Bruce.
Ann Bruce?
Ann
She
Bruce.
was terrific. Wonderful wardrobe people we had, and they worked so hard. And
I'll tell you what's interesting, again, is in 110 episodes of Babylon 5 seasons, we never had a forced call.
never had a forced
Never
call.
one
Want to
forced
explain
call.
what that is? Explain what a forced call is. No, you do it.
Well, there's 12 hours between call times for an actor without having to pay them extra money. And you think we had such a large cast and all the makeup that the regulars had to go through, or at least some of the regulars had to go through. But
I don't know.
It was a very well-produced show. We never had a forced call. I think we only worked till about 9 o'clock once or twice during the entire 5 years. And that's a pretty impressive record to be said for those guys. They ran a tight ship.
Well, the crew would revolt, because when I was directing my episodes that I directed, any Monday night, when it got to be game time for Monday Night Football, the crew would start whistling the theme to Monday Night Football. And I knew, Steve, you better get this shot.
Get it rolling. Yeah. Get it done. Mira, what time did you come in the morning to get into makeup? And Billy probably could answer this too.
We had to be there at 4 o'clock in the morning, so we had to get up at 2:30, something like that, 2:30.
Some of us just strolled in at 6:30.
Looking like gods.
Looking like gods. Yeah, I mean, we would have a camera rehearsal at 7 o'clock, so I'd stroll in about 6:30, 6:45, be ready to go.
No, but I have to say that the story, this God story, is not finished. If I don't say that Bruce, that all that reputation and hype was absolutely justified, 100% in my opinion.
I guess I owe you and Goran dinner or something. Huh? In fact, we do.
She never had a Centauri, though, So.
What did you say?
I said she never had a Centauri.
We're 6 times better than he is.
All right, do we have any other questions? Yes, you right here.
Oh, I was going to say.
Nope.
I think Jason's got this one.
It's fine.
What is? No, he was making a joke.
I'm making
Die.
a joke.
He was being funny.
One moment, what would it be?
But maybe
Not dying.
you have a lot of water on set to put out the fire. My own fire.
I would go back to contract
No, it was blown
negotiations
up.
for the 4th season.
There you go.
Remember the time Jerry Doyle was on fire? I'll never forget that.
He's on fire.
Yeah, Jerry Doyle, we had a special effects man. His name used to be Al Boom Boom Johnson. And he was setting a thing where a terrorist blows up, was blowing off bombs in the station, and Jerry and I are standing there, and I'm going to go in and try to negotiate with this guy. And before we go in there, this effect goes off, and part of the walls were on fire, and Jerry's pant leg. And this guy knew who was number one on the call sheet. He said, "Everybody okay? Is Bruce okay?" You kept hearing him yell, "Is Bruce okay? And what about the other guy?" And Jerry goes, "The other guy's on fire."
And you want to change that?
I didn't want to change that at all. It didn't burn enough. No, actually, and then his crew chair every day, we changed it. Instead of Jerry Doyle, it was the other guy. So I don't know why I thought of that.
Bruce, you just reminded me of one. We got a lot of fun perks from being, I mean, I only did one season, I know that, but we got a lot, and the spinoff in 3 movies. But anyway, we got a lot of perks. Like Bruce and Jerry got to fly in M16s, and which is, I mean, how cool is that? F-16s, yeah. Sorry.
An M16's a gun. Now, what kind of Texan
Sorry,
are
I'm
you?
from Texas.
We flew in an M16.
Texans
I
know
wanted to-
guns.
They got to fly in F-16s, and Jerry got claustrophobic and like screamed "Henny Penny" the whole time, and Bruce threw up.
I did.
And so, because out of jealousy that I didn't get to go, Bruce one day we're outside after lunch, and some F-16s fly over, and Bruce goes, in full presidential voice, says, "Look up there, Tracy. That's what we did." And I took a beat and said,
And I was throwing up the whole way.
and
Yeah.
I said, "Really? How can you tell from here they're throwing up?"
I guess if there's one thing I could change is that Peter and I had studied the Centauri opera better, because what you saw on screen was like take 18. We would just mess it up, you know. But.
We had a question. Yes, you.
Can't hear you.
I tell you what, the
I
one thing
will
about Rick Biggs is that no matter what side you took, he would take the other. So you could start arguing in favor of African Americans, and he'll turn all Ku Klux Klan on you. It's hilarious. It was amazing. I'd sit in the makeup trailer, and him and Jerry and Rick would start to go on something. Oh my God.
Oh, boy.
Let's move
The
on.
human trailer was the Great Debating Society, and the alien trailer, they were listening to chimes and smelling incense and, you know.
Next question. Next question.
Yes.
Way in the back.
There you go.
Yeah.
Sir.
Yeah. Real good.
It's a hard question for us to
Well,
ask because
it's
what
actually
we
an
it's what
easy
we
question
do.
because that's
you
how
know?
life is. So I mean, that's how life is. So we're all accustomed to it.
Well, it was a testament to his writing that each character had a magnificent journey to go through, and that's something actors live for. Well, Veer, my God, who knew you were going to take over the world, for God's sake? Really? Really? That'd have been my last guess, I'm telling you right now. But
That's because it goes back to your question about religion. I was the only Jew, and of course I was going to take all.
All right, guys, I'm afraid we're coming down to the end. We've got time for one last question, so it better be a good one.
In the back. In the back.
You.
He stood up. Go on.
I know him. Yeah. This convention. No, I'm just kidding. Where the hell's your humor, man? Come on.
Andreas, don't you think? That Peter, it's Peter's story.
Peter. No, we know that's not the last question. Let's get the last question. No.
I got nothing, friends. Here's what it taught me. It helps to make enough money to get your health insurance every year. Thank you. I know you think it's a joke, and I don't mean to not address it as a Babylon 5 question, but honestly, it is important for actors to make a certain amount to make health insurance. And do you need the spike? I really got nothing except, just a pleasure. What did Babylon 5 teach? I was kind of out of the loop. But what it taught me is what a gift. Thank you, Joe, because I'm not kidding. I thought I had one day's work. And here I am, how many frickin' years later? And it's just an honor to be here. So I guess what it taught me is, I was lucky. I was lucky. And I'm grateful.
I think it taught me, coming from theater and auditioning for the role of Ivanova and a role of Delenn, never give up. Walk into every room and offer your gift as an artist, whatever that is, and leave it all on the floor for them to pick up or not. And then you leave, and you might get a phone call one day and go, they need you for a lizard. So you may not get to play the beautiful, Ivanova or the amazing, gorgeous, Delenn, but you get to work opposite Andreas Katsoulis and wear red lenses and kick ass. So never quit.
Oh, what did I learn? I could go real dark with this, but I won't. I also learned that you have to throw your heart into every single role that you're offered, because you don't know where it's going to go. And look at where this one took us, how far we've traveled. 20 years later, it's just such an honor to be able to walk into a room like this, and you're still interested. So it's to always commit fully. Oh, we're out of court.
We're out of court. Oh, well. Never mind.
I trained.
I suppose simply it learnt me at the time, because that was a surprise, that acting jobs can last longer than a week.
I'm going to get heavy with this one. I'm sorry. After losing cast members that were so young, I learned to love and appreciate every single day of my life.
Nice. I think that with good writing and brave hearts and people who are willing to be vulnerable, you can make great art.
That's a hard ones to follow. Like I said, it was my first. That's what you learned. No, it was my first television series, so I learned a lot by watching fellow actors, and I was lucky to be part of a family of people like this who worked on the show. I also wanted to mention Robin Sachs, who also passed, and he was one of the first actors when I was in Mimbari in the beginning. We had a scene together with Delenn, And I just watched his stillness and how effortless he was with the dialogue, and basically just learned, stole. Great actors steal, and stole from a lot of these people up on stage. Tracy Scoggins, working the close-up. I learned a lot from watching her the first time. And it was just an amazing experience.
I will continue to steal with love from my castmates and say everything that they've said I agree with, and I know that I will agree with much of what's said going down this way. The biggest lessons to me are gratitude. There's so many things I am grateful for having to do with Babylon 5, including all the people sitting up here who are my dear friends, and we do get to hang out and love each other, and then to have this opportunity to be in front of you and to continue to make some money. And like Maggie was saying, how important it is. I don't want to go mercenary, but dude, it's hard out there. And so I'm very grateful for every one of you that comes up to me and my table. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're helping so much. On a lot of levels.
Oh, there's so many things you can learn. But I think the thing I've learned the most now is Minbari, yes. To really treasure and appreciate my fellow actors when I'm working and in a great ensemble, and not take anyone for granted, because I don't know of another show, and I don't want to be morose here, but I don't know of another television show in recent history that has suffered the losses that we have on Babylon 5. All of them tremendous actors. I got to work with every one of them, or most of them, I would say, maybe 2 or 3 I didn't. But to appreciate the moment, well, that's what I've learned with this show, to appreciate the moments I have with them, because they may be gone. You never ever think of that. And film lives on forever, and these people will always be with us. But, we do a job, we leave, we say goodbye, and we wander off, and it could be years later if we ever see each other again. So I think that's it. We need to appreciate each other a little bit more and look into each other's eyes when we're in a scene and really absorb that person you're with. So.
That's so beautiful. That's very beautiful what you said. And when I was thinking what to say, and when I really focus on what I learned is the same thing, gratitude, which I lack a lot. I see the negative side. I get angry. I get insulted. My vanity is hurt, or blah blah blah. That whole thing. No, appreciate the moment and absolutely the actor, the face, the sincerity that's in front of you. Also appreciate getting the job, because it will be gone very soon. And even if you did a good job, like I think we did on Babylon 5, it doesn't guarantee the next one. Especially in this country. So nothing leads to anything else. So that's it. It's happening. Be happy and be grateful. That's all. That's the main lesson.
I'll try to be brief. I learned something the hard way. I was new to the internet back in the 90s, and I decided to go into the Babylon 5 chat room. And then every so often, I would go there and there'd be fans talking about, what do you think is going to happen next and everything. Up pops J. Michael Straczynski on the Babylon 5 chat room. And the fans are going crazy. They're going crazy. First there's silence, and then they're going crazy. And I was on, and I wasn't using my name. Now's a great time to ask Joe questions, and he has no idea who it is. So I said, Mr. Straczynski, who are some of your favorite actors on the show? And he says, he mentions almost everybody in the cast, and I wasn't mentioned. I said, what about Stephen Furst? He goes, oh yes, we like Stephen Furst. And then the next one I said, the next question I had for him, I said, Mr. Straczynski, I understand Stephen Furst is one of the lowest paid actors on the show. I said, can you do something about this? And he writes back, who is this? Don't ever play a trick on Joe. I was written out of the next 5 episodes.
Again, I have to follow Steve, you know? This is tough, I'm telling you. I like Maggie's answer about luck. I have always been a very lucky person. I've been lucky in love and lucky with friends, and I've had a lucky life. And this was just really good luck for me to luck into this part, to have these friends that I have because of this, and so I'm grateful for that. That's right. Gratitude is what I learned most.
What he said is good. I learned it's just a TV show, and to try and keep that in perspective. And I just want to say, in terms of the fantasy world, you know, Earth is the only planet we have that we can really live on right now. So let's everybody please do our best to take care of Mother Earth and respect all the living things on it. Take care of each other. And thank you guys for caring about a show that's been wrapped up for 16 years or something. And we all like you.
We really do. I'd have to say, if it was one thing, it was about Babylon 5. It was about the spirit of Babylon 5 itself, and it was about bridging the gap and allowing us to reach out to you. You're here. We thank you. I learned that.
Well, I took the question to be a little more personal, but so that's going to be my answer. It made me stronger, and it made me persevere more, because I was determined to create a character that you may not like, but I hope that you respect her and come to like her at some point. And it was very important to me because I was a huge B5 fan before the show, enormous. I mean, I started watching because of Claudia, and I was flipping around and saw her, and I learned eventually not to take things personally, because I know that when I have a show where a favorite character is suddenly different, I'm like, well, who the hell is that? Oh, it's me. I got to try and like her. It's me. So I learned it. Lockley made me stronger. I'd like to be as strong as Lockley.
Again, I was just a blip, but I would like to say that I was taking this for granted, that I did this job a long time ago, this little, blip on the screen, and I just thought it was forgotten, and I thought it was gone, and no one probably ever even knew who I was from this. And then all these years later, I get this call from Tracy, and kindly saying such nice things to me about the way she remembered me. And then I come here and I have people that know this little blip that I did, and I'm so grateful for that. And I guess I took that for granted, but I never will again. And thank you to everybody that did remember my little blip.
God, I wish this wasn't ending on me. These are such amazing spiritual, emotional answers here. Yeah, I've been really lucky over the years as a working actor. I've been really lucky. And I think part of that success, at that point when I did Legend, this is what, 12, 13 years ago, I was kind of transitioning from supporting roles more into leading man roles. And what I took away was more technical acting stuff. Being the captain, being in pretty much every scene, and it was about learning what was not working, what was working for me, and I'm not going to bore you with that, but it was all technical acting stuff that has served me very well, and it's probably part of the reason why I've been doing well since then. And yeah, I'm really, really appreciative for that opportunity. It was all technical stuff for me. Sorry, it's not spiritual. It's all,
All right. I'd like to say one thing real quick. I want to thank all of you guys, because I have a career thanks to the wonderful work that you guys did. I could never have done any of those videos if it hadn't have been for everything that you guys did on camera. So can I borrow the audience? Would you all please stand up? No, yes, stand up. Would you help me thank the entire cast of Babylon 5? And we thank you for coming.